Good morning, outdoor artist, and I'm back from Portugal and ready to go back to work. Now, many of you have asked me if I'm going to make a Portugal film, and I intend to do that. I've got to edit together several clips and photographs to put something together for you, but in summary, it was a great trip. The people in Portugal were very kind to us, and we started in Lisbon, then went up to Porto. Everything was smooth, the food was great, people were great, tours were great, and the port was great. I'm a very big fan of port. Now today the project here at the shed is to fill this hole that you see, which is the shed door. That's been bugging me for a while, that the shed door isn't completed, and so I'd like to get that done. Now I've picked up a kit at the Home Depot that I'll show you now, and this is called the Peak. Let's see if I can get it up in the light a little bit here. The Peak Gate Kit. Strong and square always, exclamation point. That's important. It says build a gate in minutes, and okay, we'll see. I'm hopeful for that, but the question is how many minutes. Now it indicates that you can go 60 inches wide and 72 inches high, which is exactly what we've got here, so it should be adequate for the job. However, I am hanging red oak on the gate, so or on the door I should say, so it's going to be fairly heavy. I should point out, by the way, if you happen to get this kit, the screws that are in here have a square head, and you have to get this specific bit, which is an SQ1. It's a square bit. I got the one with the extended shaft, so it'll be a little bit easier to handle. This one's made by the Milwaukee company, but I'm sure other people make them. And so if you don't get this bit, you're going to be disappointed when you open up this box and find out you need a square bit. So with that as an introduction, I'll go ahead and get started on the door. The drill bit, or excuse me, the driver bit that I showed you earlier to go with these screws, I believe is slightly too small, because I'm getting slipping as I really engage the screw. So I'm gonna have to go after my lunch hour and get another driver bit, because that one is just not correct. So much for putting this together in minutes. Well, I'm back from the local hardware store where I've gotten a new driver bit. It's the SQ2. So we'll continue on with that one. Good morning, outdoor artist, and I'm back on day 2 of the door building operation, and I'll show you what I've gotten done so far. Yesterday, this took about, I'm going to say almost 4 hours, believe it or not, piecing that door together. Despite the claim on the box, it said it takes minutes. Took me quite a while. So I got that on. I got a few of these red oak boards on. The door works fine, nice swing to it, and so now I'm going to continue today by getting the last 2 on each side done. Then I'll put some stain on it and continue with the hardware. It's got to have obviously a latch and a handle to hold it, and then a lock system to keep it secure. So I'll continue on with that after I'm done with the with these last 2 boards. I'm not going to actually show you the time-elapsed version of this going on because I think you get the idea. It took a little longer. Now I will say that this, relative to this kit, the Peak gate kit, I would say, you know, pretty good, but if you get this thing, my suggestion would be throw away the screws and just start with your own screws, because those screws were junk. Even the new driver bit I bought was not quite correct, and I fought with that most of the time. I probably wasted close to half of my time was monkeying with those screws, so I would just get rid of them and start with some decent screws with a diamond head or something that has a secure driving system. So that's my advice on that. Well, it's lunchtime, and I wanted to bring you back to show you, well, I made some progress, but actually I made a mistake, and so rather than give you all the good news, I like to show you also when things go wrong. And let me show you what I did. When I was putting in these hinges here and here the other day, I guess it was yesterday when I was building the frame, I wanted to make sure that the screws for those went into the solid studs that I have on the edge. I didn't put in a regular door frame here because I wanted to retain the width that I needed for one of the machines that I have, the aerator. Anyway, the result of that is by keeping that hinge back here, the swing point of the hinge actually is back from the edge of the face of the shed. So the result of that is when you fill in this gap with a board of, you know, 6 inches or so, and then swing it open, it then binds against the side of the shed here, which is not good. In order to have that not bind, I'd have to cut this board all the way back into here somewhere, leaving this huge gap on the right hand side. So that's not good either. So I think the best thing to do in this case is the door is now heavy with all that red oak on it, so I think I have to take all of this red oak back off. There's, I think, 11 screws or something, so it's not the end of the world. And then at that point move this hinge point out just past the edge of the shed, and then screw it back in and then reassemble. It's kind of a pain. Actually, it's not kind of, it is a pain, but I think doing a quality job now will pay me benefits in the future rather than try to cobble up something to fill that gap as the door opens and closes, and I think visually it'll be kind of awkward. So that's what I'm going to do. First I'm going to go get some lunch, and then I'll bring you back after I've either gotten it resolved or at least gotten it started to be resolved. Good afternoon, outdoor artist, and behind me you'll see that I have finished up the door for the shed. It's not quite finished. There's going to be battens in between each board, and there's going to be some hardware and so forth, but I solved the excuse me, the mistake I made on these hinges, so that you can see these hinges are now proud, if you will, of the shed itself. So when this opens, there's clearance for that outer piece of oak to come around, and you get a full opening on the shed, which is what I was after. It took me almost all day. I had to completely disassemble the door and then reassemble it, and each of the screws I had used previously broke in the process, so I had to replace all those screws. But enough about my woes. I'm happy about the way that it came out, and I look forward to the finishing touches. And for the outdoor artist, I'm signing off.